am here to announce the Kindred Spirits Club 2023 book lineup. I just thought it would be a fun way to close out this year. It will have been a year of the Kindred Spirits Club, and it has been one of the best decisions I've ever made because, one, it's very self-indulgent. I just think about the books that I want to reread or to read, and then I get a whole group of people to read them with me. And I am just so enamored with Zoom book discussions. I really have become spoiled for them, and I don't enjoy discussing on Voxer as much, or definitely not Instagram, definitely not Goodreads. It's just my favorite way to discuss a book. I am really just so thankful for the lovely, lovely people that have come to this, and they always come. Everyone is courteous, everyone is thoughtful in their observations, and it just makes reading these books that I already loved, it makes me love them even more. It's such an enriching experience. So I have been thinking and planning. I did announce some of these in the email, but the full calendar is here. And I hope everyone is excited. So I wanted to talk a bit about each book and why I chose it. And for January, which if you have gotten the emails, you know, definitely I think the January, February ones, Diary of a Nobody by George Grossmith. I've wanted to do some Victorian books, but I know that Victorian literature, a lot of the books are longer, and a lot of them are pretty sad. So I did, think there are a couple that in the future we could do, and I thought that Diary of a Nobody, hopefully people will enjoy it. It's a lovely escape. It's a fictional diary written like, someone's everyday life, the mishaps, the hijinks, the highs and lows, and it's just very charming and winsome. And it has some awkward moments too, and I just cannot wait to revisit this humorous novel. And then for February, we are going to be reading Nancy Mitford's The Pursuit of Love. And this book to me is one of those that feels very true to life because it's very bittersweet. There are some really funny moments, there's some sweet moments, but there's some really sad things that happen. So you need tissues ready for this. I do think that there's enough lightheartedness in this that I felt confident picking it. I hope others enjoy it, and I'm very excited to revisit this. I've never reread this one, so looking forward to doing so in February. And then in March, in honor of Middle Grade March, we're going to be reading The Year of Miss Agnes. This is a very short, sweet gem of a book, but it is just packed with meaning. It is all about this teacher, Miss Agnes, who moves all the way from England to an Alaskan town. And she teaches, and the difference that she makes in this community, the difference that a passionate teacher can make. It's a very moving story. And like I said, just a very short, sweet gem of a book. And but it made such an impression on me. So it will have been 2 years since I read it in March, and I can't wait to read it all over again. In April, which is when I'm in kind of more of a modern classic mood, we're going to be reading Excellent Women by Barbara Pym. This book, I was in a reading slump the first time I read it, and I couldn't believe how much I enjoyed reading it in the midst of the reading slump. And it's one of those books that I feel like it very slowly makes you fall in love with it. You don't realize how much you love it till you're close to the end and you think, wow, that was such a good book. It has some funny scenarios to it, and it just had, I don't know, a lot of heart. I feel like Barbara Pym can be kind of snarky, but this one seems kind of tamer in that, and I really enjoyed it. So cannot wait to read that with everyone. And then in May, we are going to be reading a book called Jim the Boy. This is the first in a duology, but I think we'll just stick with Jim the Boy for now. And it is about a boy who, before he was even born, his father passed away. And he has, I think it's 4 uncles. It's 3 uncles or 4. And it's been so long since I've read this, but I love how central to the story that family is. That, he's growing up without a dad, but he has these uncles that are helping to raise him. It's in a small, sleepy southern town. And it's it's a kind of quiet book, but it's one that made such an impression on me. And so I thought, oh, I have to share this with others, and I hope that they all enjoy it. Then in June, for a bit more escapist of a read, and that is The Rose Garden by Susanna Kearsley. I really think that people that like in general, the kinds of books that I enjoy could enjoy The Rose Garden, which is a time slip romance. Susanna Kearsley was the first modern day author that didn't write mysteries that I loved. I was so swept off my feet. I couldn't believe how much I loved The Rose Garden. I wanted them to end up together so badly. I didn't know how passionately I was going to feel about it, but so very glad that I read it and cannot wait to revisit it. Then in the month of July, we will be reading Elizabeth Goudge's Island Magic. This is one I have talked up a lot, so I really hope it lives up to expectations. And it is about a family living on an island, and there are some new arrivals at the town because it is obviously they have a port, and so the way this affects the people in the community. But you really get to know this family very well. All of the children, and they all feel very distinct, and it's such a special book, so I cannot wait to share it with others. Then in August, one that I have never read, and that is Greensleeves by Eloise, Jarvis, McGraw. I'm basically going in blind to this, and two factors made me choose it. One is that Nancy Pearl, who was the reason that we read Family Grandstand and Family Sabbatical, she talked those up, and then she also highly recommended Greensleeves. And then my friend Melissa, who's part of the Kindred Spirits book club, if any of you have watched her Cozy Things chat, she just said it was a book that she really, really thought we would enjoy. So we're going to be reading Greensleeves, and it is supposed to be a very summery book. So then in September, it will be time to journey back to Cutter Gap and reread Christy by Catherine Marshall. This is a book that just addresses, so it's amazing the sheer volume of bigger questions of life that it addresses in it. And it does it with such a gentle hand, and it's such a thoughtful book. And you fall in love with these characters, and your heart breaks for the things that they're going through, and you want to make things easier for them, and just a beautiful, beautiful book. Then in October, there will be a Victober hiatus. And in November, we will read The Wind in the Willows. Do I have my copy? Right, I have my copy right here. This is just one that I didn't want to let a whole other year go by without reading The Wind in the Willows. I fell so in love with it. I read it in January or February, and I thought I have to make time for it again. So not making time for it at the beginning of the year, but at the end of the year. And I think it's just a good book for cozier months. I mean, it's good for all year round, but I thought it would be a delightful book. This is one where it is an animal book, but I don't think you have to be super crazy about animals to enjoy this, because they're very anthropomorphized. So it just feels like, people living in the countryside. They just happen to be animals. And then in the month of December, I have a bit of an unusual pick, and I hope that people are okay with it. I want to read The Wednesday Wars by Gary Schmidt. I know this is not kind of a charming Christmassy read. The other Christmassy books I had thought about reading are The Christmas Mouse and No Holly for Miss Quinn. But since I am doing the Follow Us to Fair Acre, read along through the Fair Acre series with Rainey, Angie, and Chelsea, I didn't want to have to read those twice in a year because I don't want them to lose their charm. And I just really want to read The Wednesday Wars with this group of people, because I think it is one of those books that I just didn't know what to think going in. It is a year in this kid's life, Holling Hoodhood, and it is just really wonderful at showing these scenarios that different characters are in, and the choices that they make, and how they deal with, it's the Vietnam War era in the US, and so things are really so much kind of just anger and resentment for people that feel differently than you do. It's just such a special book. And so I think it's one of those books that it isn't necessarily strictly a Christmas book, but it kind of has human resilience and the Christmas spirit there. There is actually a Christmas section to it, but I don't know. So I hope people are okay. It's kind of an uncharacteristic pick, but I really thought it would be such a great book for discussing together as well. So yes, that is the Kindred Spirits Club 2023 lineup. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these and if you're planning on attending any of the discussions. I don't have all of the dates fixed. I do think I have at least the January, February dates picked. So I'll put those in the description box along with my email address. That's how you get sent the Zoom links to the meetings and if you would like to attend. Thank you as always for watching, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye.